Hello and welcome to Acapella Adventures, 8 minutes of solo actual play, testing using the 3D10 system from Meroch, a past the post-apocalypse with fantasy tropes for the Module Ormegarten episode 027. Our characters are Igor Steinmann, a Russo-German themed Dwarven character, Sentinel 3, Thief 3 Merc, his buddy, longtime co-worker, Wolfsbane, a human spirit mystic 3, Tech 2, less Merc, very experimentalist, but a lot of the experimental stuff you need areas and kits set up for. He doesn't have that right now. Then we have Wyesley, who's a Assassin 3 Smuggler 1. I'm not going to describe him as a mercenary anymore. He's a bit chaotic. It's honestly what I'm going to describe him as. Because he was hired to keep the he was hired to stay back in town and keep the guards thinking that another person was causing the problems, which it was because he was hired to. But some of the things one of the characters had done got him a little bit of trouble, so they were using him as a distraction and then hired him on permanently. Accidentally trapped by Mac, heading to town to sell some found materials. And then they battled some random monsters on the way down towards the town and or keep, which is the main fortification exploration area. They encountered signs of civilization, the bridge, the hollow tree, and found Fox the Halfling Ranger warding the bridge in between, ranging around the area. They found a hidden treasure containing a limited skill use chip, which is, okay, originally the chips, or a lot of them were built back in the 2040s or earlier, or much later, and eventually the apocalypse happened, and eventually there's still these ships around. So it will work once for sure. Maybe if somebody rolls well with a one chance at a tech plus repair DVR chip, they can get away with fixing it again, or if they get really 40, which is a nearly impossible thing. If they pull off one of those, then they can get it to work and be permanently repaired. So it's kind of like a one-shot item that maybe they can get more out of if they're very skilled. And a magical or AI dagger, and they gave the money to Fox in exchange for him not worrying about the stuff. So, because he can use money for some reason. Next up, okay. They take the lead for Fox, and he gives them sort of directions that are fairly familiar, except that if they want to take a shortcut, they're going to have to cut through some of the bounds of the village that they're technically not allowed to pass through without a guide. So, they can either find a guide to give them a shortcut. Fox isn't willing to do it because he isn't really supposed to be in the village, because he's not technically a villager. He's not part of that. So he could lead them exactly the same distance as he could give them directions. It makes no difference. For those of you aware, it is important to respect some of the village things, because it's not only there but the lords and several other things as well. To reference, you should be paying attention to the Maniculum podcast. So they've been bringing this up, and I agree with some of their stuff, not all their stuff. I agree with some of their stuff, and maybe it's because the research has changed and I haven't kept up with it. I'm not here to fight about 13th century social politics and what was going on, what we're aware of then and now, and all that stuff. So, their choice is to keep the keep in the village on their side by respecting the boundaries, or getting a guide to get a shortcut to get more questions out of the Medusa because they can't stay too late, or they can just take the long way around and just deal with it. Because they have a time frame. They should probably get to the village, the keep in, before everything falls out. So we've got a big decision tree. We're going to go with, they're going to, I'm going to say they go ahead and take the long way around. Now then, here's where things go wrong. They can hear a woodsman chopping wood. It's noisy, carries a bit of resistance. Okay, so they're, wandering along, looking out, and they hear a strange sounding thunk, and there is a creaking, crackling sound as the tree falls, and what is obviously somebody screaming as the tree falls the wrong way. So they have a choice now. They can either go into the boundary to try and help this person who's cutting down a tree, or they can continue on their merry way. I think they're going to risk it. And yeah. Matter of fact, I asked a question, and the question was, do they recognize the voice? They've heard some of the people around here in a different dimension, so it's not quite good. But actually, they rolled a maximum possible result on the die, so that means they get a lucky break. So they head over and figure out that there's someone trapped underneath the tree. They have to decide what they're going to do. So we're going to do a little bit of play here. Don't have much time. We're going to go for a straight bulk lift to get the tree. It is a hardwood tree off of the guy enough to where they can get him out. So we'll have Wyesley and Mac pull him out while Igor goes power dwarf move, and he's gonna get lucky. That was 3 ones. I haven't rolled that yet. Slightly better. He barely manages to lift it up enough to where they can help him wiggle out. And also it looked like he was going to strain his back or something, trying to be, but he manages to pull off just barely enough. So they have managed to rescue somebody. Who it is, we'll find out next time on Acapella Adventures.